Okay, so the American Disability Act, ADA as a defense to terminate ADA as a defense to termination of parental rights. Following Terry, we concluded that respondents' claim of ADA violations does not supply grounds to challenge the order terminating her parental rights. Respondent has identified no accommodations that was refused. In any event, the record indicates that respondent was offered services in her home to accommodate her disability. Hmm. Respondent was identified no accommodations was refused. In any event, the record indicates that respondent was offered services in her home to accommodate her disabilities. Thus, the trial court did not clearly err by finding that the petitioner complied with the requirements of the ADA, American Disability Act. The respondent also claims that the lower court clearly erred by finding that grounds from termination exist. Respondent also claims that the lower court clearly erred by finding that grounds for termination existed. We disagree. The evidence was sufficient to show that the conditions that led to adjudication continued to exist. At the time of adjudication, evidence was presented that respondent still had contact with and would whip her older children, to whom her parental rights had previously been terminated, and would argue with them as if she were their age. She was volatile towards her social worker as well. The core conditions underlying the adjudication was respondent's mental and emotional instability, which she does not recognize and which has not been ameliorated. Whoa, I don't even know that word. Ameliorated? Ameliorated by therapy. We gonna have to pull out old Webster. Which she did okay, so which she does not recognize and which has not been, it ain't fixed because she's still, she in court right now. So whatever happened in therapy, it didn't work. But we ain't looked up the word yet. But we gonna keep going. So the evidence was also sufficient to establish that the minor child would likely be harmed if returned to the respondent. So she was an abuser at that. I mean, but we should know because of what she did to him, I guess. But it ain't looking like, I don't know, man. Like, hold on. Let me finish reading this. So it says the psychological report relied on by the trial court indicated that with any stress, respondent would be would be likely to neglect, if not abuse, her children with any stress. A more recent report indicated that the respondent was often very emotional and hostile and did not benefit from the therapy process. Because there's no evidence to indicate that the respondent has successfully addressed the emotional and mental instability that impedes her ability to adequately parent. The trial court did not clearly err by terminating respondents' parental rights on this basis. We need to consider whether there was clear and convincing evidence regarding other grounds, because only one ground need to be established. Finally, the court did not clearly err by finding that termination was not contrary to the best interest of the child. The child is thriving in foster care and does not recognize the respondent as her mother. The evidence supports the findings that respondent will not be able to adequately parent in the reasonable future, given the apparently intractable nature of her mental instability, particularly because she denies any emotional or mental problems, which most people that is mentally have mental problems, they don't admit it. They don't. The minor child has been in foster care ever since March of 2099. March of 1999. Made me think of Prince right there. And she is entitled to permanently in her life. She is entitled to permanency in her life. Okay. Wow. Okay, so that's a lot about her. That's a lot. And that is it on that. What y'all think about that? Do anybody want to call in and give what I want to know what y'all think? If y'all want to call in, if you don't, that's okay. But I will put up the number for anybody that do want to call in. Help us get to 500 thumbs up, y'all. I know we can do it. We want 1,000 with the replay sluice. I'm sure we could do it. Where is my number? There it is. If anybody want to call in, but in the meantime, I will come into the chat and see what y'all saying. To make some